Hello there, Seraphim17 once again. This is my Kingdom Hearts 2 Critical Mode walkthrough. We are in the revamped Hollow Bastion. That is something I've just picked up that looks a hell of a lot like the things from Birth by Sleep, and I haven't quite figured out what they are yet. I believe they're going into the collection book, and if I find all of the same kind, it's going to do something, but it's new to me. I'd never seen them before when I played this, and there's a couple of features in this game that are a part of Final Mix that I'm just not 100% certain on. The good thing is, it doesn't affect the walkthrough, so it should be okay. Right there was me checking out the items. For the most, I'm going to give the Donald and Goofy, the AI, healing items whenever I take on an encounter where I might need them. Towards the end of my recordings, I don't do it so frequently because once you get Cure, you kind of become a little bit overpowered then. And there's a really good trick with Cure. It takes all of your magic bar, but it doesn't matter how small it is when you take it as long as it's there. So if you're going to use Cure and you have the luxury, you want to spam as much magic as you can before using it as your last cast. That way you will get the maximum efficiency out of it. I'm telling you this now because you're going to see me not do that for a while, because I completely forgot how it worked. But it is a fantastic strategy and it's well worth doing. Another thing you're going to see here is what I was mentioning in a previous video about how, because they complained that the levels were kind of convoluted and had platforming sections and, you know, didn't really flow, they've shortened them. A lot of the environments you're going to see me traverse through are considerably smaller and shorter than the previous game. It gives the game a little bit more of a better flow, but at the same time it also means that you can do pretty much every zone on this game in under an hour, if you know where you're going kind of thing, and it's almost impossible not to know where you're going because it's generally a straight line. So it's one of those features that you either like or you prefer the old way, because it streamlines something that was much more varied in the past game. However, both games suffer from the same lack of pointing where you're meant to go, because this game handles that slightly differently. Whereas now we're used to waypoints and maps that tell us things, this game's a little bit different on that front. The cutscenes will tell you where you're going next, so if you're skipping them, that can get a little confusing. But the golden rule to remember, if you are skipping them and you're trying to get through the game and you're forgetting exactly where you're meant to go, if you talk to any of the NPCs around you, be them your party or the people that are ambiently on that planet or that world, they will tell you where you're meant to go, and it's a really useful system of doing this. So whenever you're stuck, talk to your people. That right there was me trying to get onto the lip, but there's an invisible wall stopping me, because I don't have the upgraded jump, and I am at the last level of the game and I still don't have the upgraded jump because I never used the drive to unlock it, which is a little bit sad, but I'll get it eventually. As I mentioned on the previous video, I didn't want this to have anything to do with farming or grinding or however you want to call that. Ooh, that's a different nobody right there. He was dead before you understood what he was though. He's kind of a samurai one, very dangerous. His reaction command is confusing as hell. I was doing it literally 10 minutes ago. It gives you a blank sheet of instruction commands in the bottom left where it normally says attack and magic and everything, and then it'll prop up and say the end. Almost like an homage to perhaps Selphie's Limit Break, and if you press it before the computer does, I think you kill him. But I pressed it pretty quick, and he took off half my life bar. So I have no idea what was going on there, but my ass got thoroughly slapped. Another thing you might be wondering is, why does Hollow Bastion look so different? And I honestly couldn't tell you. For the most, all the worlds that you revisit look really different. I think it's a good idea because it allows you to traverse an area you've already covered in the last Kingdom Hearts and it be fresh and new and interesting. However, there is one that they did and they completely dropped the ball in my opinion. And don't get me wrong, I think Atlantica was shitty in Kingdom Hearts 1 because I didn't enjoy the swimming. It's a little bit like the magic carpet riding in this one, which I hate. But it was still bearable, as much as I wasn't the biggest fan of the swimming, and I still enjoyed it. On this game, they turned it into this crazy rhythm game karaoke bullshit, and it's the most mind-numbingly boring thing on the planet. Unless you want to hear Ariel and fucking Haley Joel Osment completely ruin your childhood memories of Little Mermaid. And I just don't really want that, so you will not see me go to Atlantica. That being said, I think I'm going to get the secret ending on this playthrough. I have no idea how you get it, but I've got it before, so it means it exists in my brain and I'll be able to find it on the internet. If I had to guess, I would say you have to beat Sephiroth, you have to lock all the worlds, so seal all the keyholes, do all of Winnie the Pooh's pages, and play on Proud mode, so you'll get it on critical mode. And I think that's all you have to do. And it's kind of funny now because when I first watched that secret trailer, I was absolutely blown away. I had no idea what it meant. I thought it was going to the future, where everything was going to be super futuristic. There was Keyblade graveyards everywhere. Everyone's wearing crazy Anubis armor and has 20 Keyblades coming off of one Keyblade. I was like, this is the sickest, craziest shit ever. And it has almost nothing to do with Disney at this point, which is madness, but I still kind of love it. And then it turns out it was a kind of a teaser to what they were planning with Birth by Sleep. And I actually don't know too much about the story of Birth by Sleep because I beat all 3 campaigns, skipping the cutscenes. And you might wonder why I did that. Well, they didn't have music, and I'm sorry, but I can't do with no music in my cutscenes. It just ruins everything about them. It's all the emotion, it's all the key and the cue moments, and it's gone, and it's not as fun. Everything just sounded so flat, so I was skipping them, and it was an emulator problem. So I don't actually know too much about the story aside from the whole Luke, I am your father, you know. What happened to Padme? You killed her Darth with your rage. No, and all that nonsense. But I do know that it's a prequel, and it kind of explains what then went on to be, you know, what is, because it's a world that's considerably more advanced than the one that Sora comes from. So now, having played Birth by Sleep and understanding the connotation of that trailer, it makes me a little bit disappointed that it wasn't more everybody's armoured up and awesome looking and it's a crazy futuristic world of Keyblade monsters. But I need to talk about this because this is hard. And I say this is hard loosely. If you get off track here and they start attacking that door, they can murder it in seconds. If those samurai guys that are in the back there start comboing you, you will die in seconds. If you isolate them one by one, you stay safe, you keep your life up, you'll have no issue with this at all. But I remember failing this when I first played through the game on Proud mode, and I remember this being the first moment when I was like, yeah, this is a little bit tougher than I remember. But on this recording, I didn't have too much trouble. And you just need to make sure you can keep them in hit stun. If you can keep the enemies in hit stun and they don't start their attack, you're perfectly fine. If they start their attack and they have armor, you're in trouble, because you literally can't get away from it, and if they start hitting you, you can't block because you're already in hit stun. It's pretty rough stuff, but bear in mind you will get stronger, you'll get more abilities, and it will get gradually easier as the game in fact gets a little bit tougher. Something I have to inform as well, you're going to see me use the Kingdom Key for a little bit longer than I wanted to. All the Keyblades I was getting didn't increase my attack power, and I'm an attack power whore. I'm not the biggest fan of magic, even though I understand its usefulness. Leon here is really good as well. He kicks some serious ass. I always kind of wondered if they'd introduce some kind of mode where you could play as the other characters, because they all seem to have really cool animations, they all seem to look really fun, and they probably handle exactly like Sora does. And that's probably what that Dissidia game is like, but unfortunately, because it's a PSP exclusive, I haven't had the pleasure of playing it. But thank you very much for watching. You take care now.